is the deja vu election, Biden versus Trump, and most polling shows the two virtually tied, with Trump currently having the edge in some of the critical swing states. However, they are both failing equally among younger voters. The latest poll shows just under 30% of voters under 30 say they will definitely vote in November, compared with 58% of voters aged 45 to 64. Dr. Lauren Cook is a clinical psychologist and author of Generation Anxiety. Doctor, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
You say there's something called election stress disorder. Is this a real thing, or is this just one of those things that's like a clickbaity headline?
Like imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
It's not technically a diagnosis, but we are absolutely seeing this an increase. In fact, 40% of young adults endorse that they do, in fact, have election anxiety.
So what does that mean? What are symptoms of that?
So if folks are noticing that they're having trouble sleeping, the worrying is feeling out of control, they're noticing permanent damage in their relationships because of the upcoming election or conversations around it, these are all clues that election anxiety could be here.
So how do you fix that?
We can't avoid. This is the problem. A lot of times with anxiety, we want to run away. We want to put our head in the sand. This does not move the needle. This doesn't solve the problem. So we actually need to take action here, whether it's voting, having conversations about it, but avoidance is not the answer here.
And you say there are real practical steps here, including limiting but not ignoring. So you say 15 minutes a day or so of this news?
That's right. Take in, but don't inundate yourself. If you're finding that you're hearing the news multiple times in a day, that's a sign to put the phone down. The other thing is we need to be conscious of our news sources. Programs like this, and not TikTok, not Instagram as our news sources, that's really important.
And so how should people evaluate that sort of thing? How should they trust where they're getting their news from?
So really, I'm a big advocate of what I call empowered acceptance. And that means you have to accept what's going on. You can't deny the reality of the situation, and you need to be empowered. So part of that is taking action to really learn the statistics, the facts, make sure you fully understand these issues and not just make a snap judgment.
So we just showed the poll results, basically saying that young people don't want to vote.
Yeah.
Now, we know that young people are active. We see a lot of them on college campuses talking about Gaza.
Yep.
We see them posting on TikTok their opinions, or Instagram, or wherever. But if you don't vote, then it doesn't really matter, all that sort of activism. How does that message get through? Why is it that young people don't want to take that next step?
Well, you know, this sometimes happens with anxiety. It actually can lead to a depression because people start to feel hopeless and helpless. You put those two things together. And a lot of young adults will say they're not necessarily excited about either option. And so you start to see this apathetic approach. But we really need to encourage our young adults. Your vote does matter. Get out the word, sign up, and put your name out there. Start having conversations about this.
Are you noticing that the actual sort of brain chemistry of young people who have grown up with phones in their hands, who had the pandemic, had to be on virtual learning for a couple years, is different than the brain chemistry of, say, a baby boomer who grew up watching TV and reading the newspaper?
That's a great question. We're not necessarily seeing active brain differences per se, but I will say our young adults, they do feel defeated. They are not sure what difference they can make, especially on a singular level with a vote. But that's really where I, as a therapist, try and remind my clients, yes, your vote, your voice does matter. So register and participate in the conversation.
All right. Well, you delve into all of these issues in a book called Generation Anxiety, a Millennial and Gen Z Guide to Staying Afloat in an Uncertain World. Dr. Lauren Cook, congrats again on the book. Always great to see you.
Great
and it's
to
an
see you
important
too,
topic
Alex.
to talk about.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Marlon, back over to you.